The knock on my door that night wasn't just loud, it was authoritative. Three sharp bangs echoed through my hallway like a judge slamming a gavel. I froze halfway to the kitchen, my instincts flaring up. That knock wasn't from a neighbor. That was the kind of knock I usually made. As a police officer, I developed a sixth sense for trouble, and tonight, trouble was standing on my porch. I walked slowly to the door, hand brushing against my off-duty holster clipped to my waistband. Peering through the peephole, I saw two men and a woman dressed in police uniforms. But something was off. Their stances were stiff, forced. Their belts looked too light. Their badges too shiny, almost plastic. "Open up! Police!" one of the men barked. That voice didn't carry the calm authority of real law enforcement. It sounded rehearsed, shaky beneath the aggression. I opened the door just enough to make eye contact. "Can I help you?" I asked, voice steady. "Mr. Rodriguez," the woman began, flipping open a fake-looking ID wallet. "You're in violation of community security regulations. We're here to conduct a property inspection." I almost laughed. Property inspection? By police? Behind them, I noticed a familiar face peeking out from the sidewalk. The HOA president, Mrs. Barnes, wearing her usual smug grin. Suddenly, everything clicked. The HOA had been trying for months to get into my home. They hated that I refused to remove my American flag from the porch or repaint my fence the approved beige. And now, they'd sent fake cops to intimidate me. I played along, keeping my expression neutral. "All right," I said. "Why don't you all step inside? We'll sort this out properly." The man smirked, thinking he'd won. As soon as they stepped into the entryway, I shut the door behind them and flipped the deadbolt. "Here's the thing," I said, letting my voice shift from neighborly to commanding. "I'm Officer Daniel Rodriguez, badge number 4521, real police, and you just impersonated law enforcement on a sworn officer's property." The color drained from their faces like water from a cracked pipe. The man stammered, We're just here for the HOA." I cut him off. "Impersonating an officer is a felony. You three just walked into the worst possible house to pull this stunt." They shifted nervously, their fake badges catching the light. That's when I saw one of them glance at the door, ready to bolt. My hand dropped to my cuffs. "Don't even think about it," I warned. "Hands where I can see them." It was surreal. Usually I'm the one calming suspects down. This time it was my home, my safe space. My family was upstairs, my wife and little girl, unaware of what was unfolding beneath their feet. I could hear my daughter's favorite cartoon faintly from her room, and that alone made my blood run hotter. I moved with practiced precision. "On your knees. All of you. Hands behind your backs." Their fake uniforms crumpled as they knelt, the arrogance melting away. Within seconds, I had them cuffed and seated against the wall. I called dispatch, my voice cold and professional. 3 suspects in custody for impersonating law enforcement. Immediate pickup requested. Minutes later, real units swarmed my block. My neighbors peeked out from their windows, whispers rippling down the street. And there stood Mrs. Barnes clutching her little clipboard, trembling like she'd just watched her plan blow up in her face. I watched as the officers led the 3 imposters to the patrol car. Before they got in, one of them muttered, "She said this would just scare you." Easy money, I turned my glare on Mrs. Barnes. "This isn't just an HOA violation anymore," I said as I approached her. "You've involved criminals. You endangered my family. I will see you held accountable." For the first time since I'd known her, the mighty Mrs. Barnes didn't have a single word to say. Her lips quivered, her clipboard hung limp at her side. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Depositions, charges filed, HOA board meetings that felt more like court hearings. But when the dust settled, the imposters faced serious prison time. And Mrs. Barnes, she was stripped of her position, fined heavily, and banned from holding any HOA leadership role ever again. I thought about that night many times after, about the sound of my daughter laughing upstairs while danger crept to my front porch, about how something as petty as an HOA dispute could have gone very, very wrong. But most of all, I thought about standing my ground. You don't always get to choose the battles that come to your doorstep, but you do get to choose how you respond. And when you're faced with intimidation, the strongest stance isn't anger. It's unwavering calm. That night, I didn't just defend my house. I defended my family, my dignity, and my badge. And for anyone else out there dealing with power-hungry people trying to control their lives, let me tell you this: stand tall. The truth speaks louder than fear.